Hello, I am James. This is my life real story. A long time ago, she backed out of my wedding at the last minute. She told my mother I would never succeed in life. She even billed me for her own mistakes. But 24 years later, she showed up at my door, and let's just say, karma had the final word. Ever been betrayed by someone you thought was a friend? You'll love this story. Hit like, subscribe, and stick around, because this is one of the most jaw-dropping long-game revenge payoffs you'll ever hear. I was 20 years old when I got engaged. Young, yes, but we were mature and ready to build a life together. We set the date, told the family, and chose our wedding party. I asked my sister, my cousin, and three friends, including one I thought was like a sister, to stand beside me as bridesmaids. Everyone had a full year's notice. Dresses were being custom made, deposits paid, excitement was building. But what should have been a time of joy became the stage for betrayal I never saw coming. A few months before the wedding, one bridesmaid invited us on her boat. She and her husband had a jet ski, too. At one point, her husband asked if she secured the protective bumper between the boat and the jet ski. She waved him off. "It'll be fine." It wasn't fine. After lunch, the boat started taking on water. My fiancé, who couldn't even swim, was left alone with a sinking boat in the hot sun with nothing but a tiny bucket to bail water for an entire hour while everyone else was gone. By the time help came, the boat was nearly done for. We even took them out to dinner afterward because we felt bad their boat was ruined. That's how naive and kind-hearted we were. Fast forward a week before my wedding. Out of nowhere, this same friend pulled out of the bridal party. Her excuse? "It's unfair for you to schedule your wedding on Halloween. I already spent $300 on costumes." Mind you, she'd had the date for a full year. But the real gut punch came the day before my wedding. My mother pulled me aside at rehearsal. She'd received a letter. In it, my so-called friend declared we would never amount to anything, that we'd never own a house, never have real careers, that we'd be bad parents, that our marriage wouldn't last. And as if that venom wasn't enough, she attached a bill for the damage to her boat. She blamed my fiancé for not scooping water fast enough. The sheer audacity, sending a letter to my mother, trying to humiliate me on the happiest day of my life. That memory haunted me for years. After the wedding, I cut her off completely. 24 years passed without a word. In that time, I built my life. I earned my master's degree. I bought a home. I had three kids. One of them graduated college 2 years early and became a teacher. My husband and I lasted 18 years before we divorced. But even then, we co-parent well, celebrate holidays together, and remain friends. I didn't live a perfect life, but I lived a full one, a meaningful one. Then one holiday, I was visiting family when my brothers came inside. "Hey, you've got a friend outside." I stepped out, and there she was. For the first time in 24 years, she tried to catch up casually, but the contrast between us said everything words never could. There I was, a homeowner, a degree holder, a mother of thriving kids with a life full of stability and love. And there she was, divorced long ago, no degree, no career, her health ravaged, teeth ruined from drug use, frail and struggling. I don't usually measure worth in money, career, or status, but in this one moment, it was undeniable. Every cruel word she spat at me in that letter had come true. Not for me, but for her. They say the best revenge is a life well lived. And after 24 years, I can confirm it's true. Karma doesn't always knock fast, but when it doesn't miss. If you think this was satisfying, hit like and subscribe for more real revenge stories. And tell me in the comments, what's the pettiest or most satisfying revenge you've ever seen come true? Her name, let's just say Angela. Angela was middle-aged from Queensland, Australia. The way she presented herself? Smooth, polished, convincing. She told me she had owned and lived in her own home for 30 years. That explained why she didn't have any recent landlord references. She seemed gainfully employed, and she had brought solid letters of reference with her. On paper, she looked like a dream tenant. I walked her through the apartment, the clean furniture, the shiny kitchen appliances, the sunlit windows overlooking the Manhattan streets. She nodded, smiled, and told me how much she loved it. I remember thinking, she'll take care of this place. She seems decent. So I signed the lease. 1 year, furnished. And with that, I moved in with my mother, trusting that everything would go smoothly. For the first few months, it did. Rent came on time. No complaints. No issues. I thought I had done well. But you know how sometimes the devil doesn't strike all at once? Sometimes betrayal crawls in quietly and then takes everything at once. 7 months into the lease, the rent stopped. No warning. No excuses. Nothing. At first I thought, maybe she's having a bad month. Things happen. Maybe she'll catch up next month. But then, silence. No replies to my emails. No responses to my calls. The phone rang and rang until the automated voicemail picked up. I went from polite to frustrated to downright furious. I had bills to pay, my mother's care to handle, and suddenly my main income source was gone. Every time I looked at my phone, hoping for a reply that never came, my chest grew tighter. My stomach churned with stress. My hands shook when I thought about how easily she had just decided to stop paying me. Like my effort, my property, my life meant nothing to her. I wasn't about to just sit there and take it. So I filed the paperwork. I took her to housing court. When the judge reviewed the case, the evidence was clear. Rent unpaid. Lease violated. She was evicted. The court granted me the right to take back my apartment. But when I finally stepped back into that space, my space, what I found nearly broke me. The microwave, smashed. The sofas, stained beyond recognition. The once shining apartment, left in filthy condition, trash, grime, disrespect in every corner. It wasn't just about unpaid rent anymore. It was personal. She had disrespected me, my property, and everything I had worked for. I filed in small claims court too, suing for damages. The total? Over $23,000. The court sided with me. I had the judgments in my hand, proof of her debt to me. But then, she skipped the court dates. She packed up, moved out quietly, and fled back to Australia. She ghosted completely. There I was, holding these papers that said she owed me $23,000. And yet, how was I going to enforce that on the other side of the world? To hire a lawyer overseas would cost me more than I'd win back. It felt like she had won, like she had spit in my face and then disappeared into thin air. For a moment I felt powerless, but that moment didn't last long. I remember the exact night. I was sitting in my mother's living room, papers spread out across the table. The eviction notice, the photos of damages, the court judgment with her name on it in black ink. My jaw was clenched so tightly it hurt. My heart pounded. My mind kept replaying the image of her walking away without consequence, maybe laughing, maybe proud of outsmarting me. And that was when something inside me snapped. I whispered to myself, she will not get away, not from me, not from this. That's when the plan came. Her name, it was unique, rare. If someone searched for it online, they'd find her. And I would make sure that what they found was the truth. The revenge, step by step. The first thing I did, I went online and bought her exact domain name. Imagine her name is Jane Smith. I bought janesmith.com. That domain was mine now. And then I built a website. On that website, I posted everything. Her photo, official copies of the judgments she owed me, photos of the filth she left in my apartment, the broken microwave, the stained sofas, even the notice from the marshal posted on the door with eviction details. But here's the key. I was careful. I stuck only to facts. No slander, no exaggeration, just the cold, undeniable truth. And then I focused on the SEO. Keywords, backlinks, optimization. Slowly but surely, when anyone searched her name on Google, my website climbed to the top. And then the traffic came. The sweet satisfaction. I remember the first time I checked the analytics and saw a familiar IP address. It was her employer. They had visited the site. My lips curled into a smile. She couldn't hide. Then emails started coming in. People at a professional conference had seen her, Googled her name, and stumbled onto my site. They reached out, telling me they knew where she was. I even contacted the people who had written her letters of reference for the rental application. I sent them the link. I showed them what she had done. Her carefully built image, her mask of respectability, it shattered. She had stolen from me, disrespected me, tried to vanish without consequence. Now every date she goes on, every job she applies for, every apartment she tries to rent, she has to live with the shadow of her own actions. 3 years later. It's been 3 years now. The website is still up, still ranking, still #1 when you search her name. Sure, I pay a little money to keep it running, hosting fees, domain renewals, but every dollar is worth it, because she cost me $20,000. And now it's costing her far more than that every single day of her life. She thought she got away unscathed, but the truth is, she'll never escape it. Sometimes people think they can cheat, steal, betray, and then walk away like nothing happened. They think the world will forget, but the internet doesn't forget, and neither do I. Angela in Queensland, if you're listening, you know exactly what this is. You thought you won, but really, you messed with the wrong person. If this story gave you chills, smash that like button and tell me in the comments. What's the most satisfying revenge you've ever witnessed? And don't forget to subscribe, because trust me, I've got plenty more stories where this one came from. Thank you for listening. And remember, sometimes karma needs a little push.